Okay, guys, good evening and welcome to week 4 of Party with a Purpose, Help You Grow Your Business. So we have covered so much in the last 2 weeks. We are super excited about tonight's topic, which is going to be why it is important to build habits into your business for longevity, because you don't want a business that's going to be around for 6 months and then disappear. You want a business that's going to be around for years and years to come, and you can leave a legacy for your family, etc., etc. So that is what we are going to cover tonight with reference to partying, networking, etc., etc. So before we kick off, has anybody got any feedback from the week? So has anybody booked any parties this week? Any borrow bags gone out? Let us know your success stories from the previous week. There's been lots of tags on Instagram and people catching up on it if they haven't necessarily watched it live, which is amazing. Booked a party. Well done, Ruth. Okay. Because that's obviously what we wanted to know, was that you're changing your mindset and you're changing your habits within your business. So, Lise, do you want to kick it off?
I can do, if you want me to.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we thought we would close this. Obviously, we have discussed borrow bags, we've discussed online parties, we've discussed face-to-face parties. We've talked about lots of different ways that you can, network, basically ways that you can find new people in your business. But really, we can give you all of these tools like this week and next week, and it'll be in January and everybody's fired up because it's January. But the secret to this business, well, there isn't really one, but the secret to this business is not just doing the actions and the things that we've shared with you over the last few weeks just because we're in a training, or just because it's January and it's New Year. And it's about trying to find ways where you can actually build habits into your business to make sure that bookings, whichever type of booking. So when I talk about parties, remember, I'm talking about all the different types that we've talked about. There isn't, a set type, but you're making bookings every single month. Now, one of the habits that I am trying to desperately build into my business is by the middle of this month, my parties should be well and truly underway in January. I have made those bookings right at the beginning of the month in my first 15 days. And I knew that parties were going to be, happening. I knew my borrow bag was going out. I knew that I had online parties to do. I had dates of when they were being set up, agreements with my customers. Now, hopefully halfway through January, my habit and my consistency, if you like, is to start planning that for February. So already I've got parties and borrow bags already booked in. My diary is already starting to look busy, so that I'm not getting into February. And I know we always say work the month you're in, because a booking isn't like you're taking PRV bookings right now. So, but ideally you want to be set up for the year. You want to be able to book your parties up for get your diary booked out for 6 months if you can. If you could book 2 parties a month, and you could do that every single month and have that in the diary, then that if you can get other things booked on top of that, you're getting that consistency. There's going to be PRV. That it's going to give your business longevity. And by longevity, we mean that you're going to have new customers coming in constantly, because you want a constant stream of new customers. There should never be a point in your business where you are just servicing the same people every single month. I set myself a goal every month to have at least 10 brand new customers. And whether that's through partying, whether that's through borrow bags, referrals, whether that's through me networking and opening my mouth and speaking to people, however that is, I set myself 10. You could set yourself any number you like, but you need to make it realistic. But I think it's really important for you, one, to have a booking consistency number. How many parties do I want to make sure that I'm getting booked each month? If you haven't got anything booked for February right now, I would be, spending that time making sure that I'm getting my borrow bag booked out, making sure that I am, can I get an online party booked tomorrow? Can I run something in my customer group that's like right, if you book a party with me in February, you will get X, Y, Z, or whatever incentive you want to run. We've had the double host rewards this month, so it's made, a real big difference. But we, you know, they're the sort of things that you want to be thinking about going forward to drive longevity into your business, to make sure that you're driving new customers, new people into your business all the time. And that is something that you need to get into a habit of doing, whether you write that on your list of things to do on the 1st of the month, the 15th of the month, or wherever you put it in your diary. It's a system that you want to create. That system should be that at some point in your week, you know, say, for example, you split your business, your Scentsy business into weeks. At some point, say you decide, oh, I'm going to give my business 5 hours throughout the week. One of those hours is going to be dedicated to booking and making bookings, whether that's in February, March, April, May, wherever it is, but filling up your diary, speaking to your customers, you know, and do you know what it will do? Some people, yes, are going to say no, like we've talked about that in the previous 3 weeks, but it will also drive new orders as well, because some people might say, I don't want to book a party right now, or I don't want to book a borrow bag. However, I do need a 6-pack of wax. It's a natural way to follow up with people. I feel like we've sort of hammered that home the last few weeks. We've talked about that quite a lot, that this just becomes something that's very simple. It's a simple way to follow up with people. But ideally, this needs to be a habit.
Yeah.
Bookings need to be a habit. They're just one thing. That bookings are going to bring you sales. They're going to bring you people. They're going to bring you potential teams if you want to build a team. And that's one of the habits that I think is really, really important going forward from what we've learned over the last 3 weeks, is how do you build that into your business? How do you make sure that that becomes something that is in the forefront of your mind, that you, if you haven't got anything booked, that it makes you go, I need parties. I need to book something. I need to have those conversations. I need to get my borrow bag booked out. You know, where do you put that in your systems? Now, I can't tell you how to do that. I am telling you that by the 15th, for me, my focus for the second half of the month flips to booking parties for the following month and make sure I've got those in the diary. That's something that I've really tried to focus on this month, and it's worked, because I've got 2 online parties for next month booked, as I say, and borrow bags. That might not work for you. You might be like, I need to focus on my month and I want to do it on the last week, so that my customers, you know, I've got a smaller customer base. I don't, you know, it might not work for you. You might be somebody that wants to spend a whole day booking out all your time and your parties for the whole year. It doesn't really matter how you do it, but you need to make sure that it's a system. And by system, it doesn't need to be something that stresses you out. It's just a system is a habit, something that you do religiously, and you do it consistently, and you spend that time asking those questions and, you know, following up with people and, you know, connecting with your customers and asking them, do they want to book a party? It shouldn't be something that's like, oh my God, I haven't got any parties booked, quick, I need to get some booked in today. You want to get that written in your list of things to do, your diary. That's going to give you longevity. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, it's just that phrase that, like, while you were talking, kept spinning around my mind. There's quite a famous phrase, and it's relevant to everything, your business, like your health, everything. It's show me your habits and I'll show you your future. Like, your whole life is built on habits. And people I don't think I probably realized that when I was younger, but definitely in the last 10 years, it's not about doing something once, it's about doing something over and over again. And it's like another thing, and we all know I love a quote, but it's like, find the magic in the mundane. I think far too many people look at like people that are successful in this business, successful in this industry, and they think they just, you know, oh, they're an overnight success. It's the things that you do consistently behind the scenes that people don't see, like away from social media, away from them follow-ups, away from like those when you're posting things. It's the follow-ups that you do behind the scenes, and it's doing them over and over and over again. And that actually might make this business sound quite boring, but anything that you're going to have success in, whether that's your business, whether that's fitness, whether that's drinking more water, whether that's you know, working on your relationship, whatever it may be, you can't just do something once and expect it to flourish. It's that whole thing of like planting the seed and expect, you wouldn't plant a seed and keep digging it up every single day and expecting it to grow. You have to do it time and again. And I definitely feel like that over the last couple of years, I know it's such a double-edged sword, right? I know we keep referencing the last couple of years and it's all been crazy busy, and it's amazing. I'm not taking anything away from that. Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. What we're saying is that, you know, the last couple of years have been absolutely wonderful for our businesses. But if you want a business that's going to last, that is going to go the test of time, that is going to last for years and years to come, it's shifting your mindset. And I think far too many people, like Liz said, are going to watch this training for a few weeks, going to go away, oh, amazing, I'm going to have a party. And then and then stop doing it. It's about building it in so it becomes second nature. You should be asking, like, you know, would they like to smell the whiff pots? Would that, you know, would they like to look at your website? Would you like to earn some free, would you like to get some free Scentsy? It should be something that's like literally rolling off your tongue. And that is where, I feel like we can't say it enough, because I feel like it just has to be something that you do without even thinking. And I don't know if you want to lead into this, Lise. What we talked about earlier is like actually being intentional with it. Like, because I think a lot of people think they're doing the things, but are they actually? And do you want to take over there, because you kind of explained it a little bit better than me.
I think where that leads really nicely into, like, we're all guilty sometimes, and even I'm going to put this in a different analogy and then bring it back. Hold on, thanks, baby. I don't know whether that's my air conditioning or not. 1 second. Let me just stick my head out the door. 2 seconds.
That's all right. Go for it. Actually, while Lisa's gone, I'll just give you an example of what I was going to talk about. I've actually put it in, if you're in my team group, you've seen it because I've shared it. I've shared it in the Region 2 group, so your director might share it. Well, obviously Lisa's your director if you're on here, but you know what I mean. I've shared it in our wider group. Is that people talk about, I don't know enough people, and I don't know. The example that I shared today was, I met a lady on Saturday because she came to my house and put balloons up in my house. I didn't know her as of Saturday morning. Through networking, literally, she came in, I talked to her, I gave her a business card and a catalogue. She went away. We were chatting about her son's similar age to Finley. I thanked her on Facebook, on Instagram for the balloons, nothing to do with Scentsy. She followed me, and then today she's placed an order on my website. I then obviously thanked her, followed her, messaged her to thank her for her order, tagged her in a post to say thank you. We've been chatting back and forth. I've asked her about having a party. She said yes. And it was completely natural. It wasn't hard sell. It wasn't, when she walked into my house on Saturday, I didn't think, you know, oh, I'm going into work mode. I'm going to talk to you about Scentsy. It just becomes part of your life. And this leads into what Lisa's going to talk about.
Sorry, guys. There was a beeping noise, and I thought it was our fire alarm going off. And I was thinking, oh my God, no, the mic's upstairs putting Artie to bed, but it's not. It must be someone else's. Someone else's house is.
Someone else's house is burning,
not mine.
That's all right.
As long as it's not the kids. I was like, oh my God. So sorry. So I'm gonna put this in a bit of a different analogy for you. And I don't know. I'm trying to make sure that it works. I was thinking. So I want you to think about a gym membership. Sometimes you go to the gym, and whilst you're at the gym, you do your workout, and then you come home, and then you go to the gym the next day and you do your workout. And after a while, you end up doing what I would call doing the motions. The motions are like where you're saying, well, I'm going to the gym every day, but I'm not losing any weight, because actually you're coming home and you're eating all the things that you want to eat, and you feel like you're going through the motions. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but actually we get into this comfort zone, and we're not very intentional, which is then we wonder why we're not getting results. It's the same with our Scentsy business. Okay. I think we can go through the motions of thinking that we are asking, you know, people if they want to have parties. We're go through the motions of saying, yeah, I've asked people if they want to join the business, or whether they want to, I don't know, host a party, or whether they want more Scentsy. And what I mean by going through the motions, even posting in customer groups, this is something like is probably a bit of a bugbear of mine at the moment. So I find a lot of people would say, well, I'm posting in my customer group every day, but I'm getting really little interaction, you know, when I'm talking about parties or when I'm talking about joining. And when I go and look at those posts sometimes, I think they're very much it's a bit like post and pray. You know, if you might say to yourself, okay, I want to have 10 conversations today. I'm going to message 10 people and see if they want a party. And you quickly think of 10 people and you're like, right, I'm going to message these people. And you're going through the motions to tick a box. Okay. I know that when I worked at school, there were lots of motions that I had to do to tick a box. And I remember looking back now and thinking, God, like as a parent, I would be really angry at some of those things where the teachers were clearly just going through the motions to tick a box for my kids being a number. We need to think about our business like this. I don't know if I'm going in the right direction.
No, you are. It's making sense. Yeah.
Hopefully this will make sense. But if I set myself a challenge to message 10 people and ask them if I want a party, or to post in my customer group regularly for 5 to 6 posts a day for 3 weeks, it needs to be intentional. There is no point in just messaging 10 people that are in your customer group and hoping, you know, I could be messaging Sally, Helen, Louise and Kerry, and all 4 of those people are maybe people that don't live near me, or people that, you know, maybe they buy the odd wax bar and I haven't got a great relationship with them. I could message them, but actually I'm going to be more intentional. I'm looking for, you know, Janice, who absolutely loves Scentsy and she buys a shed load of it. So let's try and save Janice some money. That would be intentional, because I could say, Janice, you've spent £200 with me this month. I can get you some money back on your orders. That is where you're more likely to get your yeses. The same as if, say, for example, you've got somebody that says, I love that warmer, but it's too much money for me. I can't afford it. That would be an intentional person to message and say, let's look at booking a party. It's about listening, using those listening ears, and not just going through the motions of just messaging 10 people just because. And it's the same in your customer groups. Like, how many of us, be completely honest, what I'm hearing it a lot at the minute, post and pray, or not posting anything, post and walk away, it might well be. And it's because in your head, you're thinking, I just need to do a post. I just need to get a post done. I just need to get a post done so that I've posted in my customer group. But actually, it's not really relevant to, 1, what your customers want to see. 2, it's not very engaging. 3, it's a post just because, to show that you're showing up and being consistent. I'm not that person. Like, sometimes I could post in my customer group, say 5 times, for example, some days. And then other times, like today, I've only posted 2 or 3, because the posts that I posted were really intentional today. One of them was about my WhatsApp broadcast list and opening that up. It had 13 new comments on it, which has left me 13 people that I need to text tonight to get them on my broadcast. Haven't done it yet. Job on the list. But that, I wanted to leave that in my group so more people see it. I tagged everybody in it so they could see it. It was intentional. And this is the same within your business. We want you to be consistent with asking people to have parties, asking people to join, following up with your customers, but it needs to be intentional. If it's a post and pray or message and pray, hoping that, you know, I'm just trying to tick a box by sending 30 messages. You know, I love doing a text blast and sending out those messages to lots of people. I don't do it very often, but when I do, yes, it does sometimes it will bring in the results. But if I actually sat down, now, one of my team is, I'll print it off, Angela, she is doing Joe Davidson's class of 2023, because I was about to say 2018, that was the year that I did it. And she said to me, I've done this, and she said, this has made such a difference to me, and I will share this with you all because it's a really good sheet, and it's called Print Your Frank List. Okay, so if you've not heard of this before, this will make you a little bit more intentional with who you're messaging. So it's making a list of friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbours, and then the K is kid contacts. Now, you could change kid contacts to something. If you haven't got children, you might have a dog, so you might want to do dog mummy friends, or, you know, whatever suits you. It might be karate mums or karate dance gym friends or whatever. It makes you more intentional about who you're, then just blasting everybody in your group in the hope that someone is going to have a party. It's about that, using those listening skills, being intentional, and, you know, making sure you're contacting the right type of people. I hope that analogy made sense, because that intentionalness, doing that consistently, is where I think we get very good results. We are not people that, like Laura and I have never been people to just send 100 messages in one go and be like, right, sent 100 messages, one of those hopefully is going to come back. We are actually think about, I sit down and I really think about, right, who am I going to follow up with? Who hasn't had wax for a little while? That would make sense to actually follow up with them. There's no point in sending her a message. She's just spent £120 in the flash sale. So I'm just going to leave that. So Frank stands for, so just last time for you, Claire, friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbours, and kid contacts. If you actually Google Print Your Franks List or Frank List, this is a free printable that comes up, and you can download it to your phone, or you can it's actually on Workstation as well, but I think it's just slightly different variation of it. So it really does work. Oh, there's Angela, she's there. She's there. Go on, Laura, I could see you like digging around.
You're fine. While you were talking, I just was like, oh my God. So I remembered, and this is like there's a box down here that has all my books in that from when I moved, and I've not taken them out yet. But as you were talking, there was a paragraph in a book that literally was what you were saying. So I was like, I need to find it. And I remembered seeing it the other day when I was looking for something. So we were going to recommend these two at the end. Anyway, if you're not somebody that reads, this is something that we were talking about with some other SSDs today, how I love to read a book, and I do also like listening to audiobooks. I do listen to both, but if you are somebody that doesn't like to sit and read, you can get both of these on audio, you know, whether you're driving, whether you're cleaning, whether you're sorting out the washing, whatever it may be. This is one of the best books I've ever read in my entrepreneurial career, High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard, How Extraordinary People Become That Way. And another really good one is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
I'll add one more to that as well. The Compound Effect is
yes,
absolute
that's
gold.
the other one. I was trying to think of that. Yeah, I haven't got that one.
Changed my whole business. That did change my whole business.
Yeah. I remember you reading that and being like, "Oh my God, Laura!"
I think I was ringing you every day, going, "Listen to this." She was like,
this one, I remember it really like stuck with me because I read this while I was in Ibiza on holiday, like with Dan and the kids last year. So obviously there wasn't a lot of time for sitting reading during the day when the kids were up. But I'm an early riser. I used to get up, I was totally that person that put my towels on the sunbeds, and then I used to come back, get a coffee, and there was like a little thing outside, and I read this while I was on holiday. But there was this one paragraph that literally jumped out. So Brendan Burchard is a business coach. He's coached people from all different industries. So the first one was High Performance Habits. The second one was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And Lisa recommended The Compound Effect. I don't know who wrote that. We can find that out.
I've got it here.
So yeah, Brendan Burchard, he has coached people from all different industries, not just network marketing, but from all different backgrounds. And it says, with the right habits, anyone can dramatically increase results and become a high performer in almost any field of endeavor. High performance is not strongly correlated with age, education, income, race, nationality, or gender. This means that many of the excuses we use to explain why we can't succeed are simply wrong. High performance is not achieved by a specific kind of person, but rather by a specific set of practices, which I call high performance habits. Anyone can learn them, regardless of experience, strengths, personality, or position. People who are struggling to make new progress can use this book to revitalize their lives, get ahead, and fulfill their potential. And those who are already successful can use it to get to the next level. So basically, that is just, and then the whole book goes on to talk about habits and why they are so important. So that paragraph just came to me because it's like, so many people will say, oh, I can't do this because of this, or I can't do this because I grew up in this area, or I can't do this because I'm not they're all literally excuses that your mind like tricks you. Your mind is like, as a person, like you are designed to evolve and to grow, and you all have like unlimited potential within you. But your brain, which I'm not going to try and explain this. I'm reading another book at the moment called The Chimp Paradox, which talks about how you've got like your human brain and you've got your chimp brain. And your chimp brain is like a little monkey, like dancing around, that tries to keep you. That is like your instant reaction to things. And your mind is like, it tricks you into trying to keep you safe, like trying to keep you in your comfort zone. So all the excuses to why you're telling yourself you can't do these things in your business, in your life, whatever it may be, you absolutely can. You just need to form habits. And you have to, for something to become a habit, you have to do it like, I don't know how many times, but a lot of times, over and over again. So you're right. So it becomes, I read the Chimp book last year to support with my son's mental health difficulties. Really good. On it, the Chimp book, he's got nothing to do with network marketing. It's just about how the human brain works. It's really interesting. So yeah, relevant to anything, but it all comes down to habits. Everything in your life is down to your habits. Everything, if you strip it back. So that was basically saying it doesn't matter where you are in your Scentsy journey. It doesn't matter if you started last week or if you've been in for 10 years. Everyone can change their habits and up level their habits to, you know, to go to that next level. Like you're never done. You don't just work on these things and all of a sudden you're perfect. Like there's always room for growth and there's always room for evolving. So, and it all comes down to the habits that you instill, not because of your background or not because of your previous experience. It's all to do with the habits that you choose, that word again, choice, that you choose to put into practice every single day.
Definitely. So other areas as well that we want to talk about in terms of to build the longevity. Obviously booking parties has been our main focus for the last few weeks. but there's a kind of like few pillars, if you like, to work your business around. So focusing on your sales, which will obviously come from booking parties and borrow bags and following up with your customers and all of that jazz. That's going to bring you in your PRV. So focusing on sales and PRV is like one part of your business. If you want to build a team, and I say that with if you want to build a team, because I know that I really understand that not everyone wants to build a team. I'm actually reading The Freakishly Effectiveness, I can't remember the full title, but of something a bit leader. And it's a leadership book. And one of the things that really struck me in the first chapter was about, like, even though I say it all the time, is like knowing what your team wants to do. And not everybody wants to build a really big business. Some people just want to earn £200 a month. Some people want to earn £2,000 a month. And there will be a very small percentage that want the £25,000 a month paycheck and the huge business. So, you know, anything is possible, but it's about knowing what you want. So if you want to build a team, obviously having all these parties and, you know, networking and building a really strong customer base naturally will go hand in hand with asking those people to join. I have made a really big, look, I've been like getting so excited this week, a really intentional, that word is coming up again, thing, a new habit of every new customer that places their first order directly with me, because I have had quite a lot of PWS orders recently. And once they get into my customer group and then order from me, the closing statement now from every one of them is, have you thought about joining Scentsy? It literally is that's the question I've been asking. And this week I've had 2 people say yes. And they are both brand new customers, okay, that have come in through PWS orders in the flash sale. And 2 of them have said yes. So, and that's just a really simple, have you thought about joining Scentsy? There was no complication in it. No, you know, I didn't need to make it fluffy. It was a 2-liner. I didn't need to send them a big essay as to why I thought they would be amazing. I just asked the question. It was that simple. And I do it as they close their order. So one of them messaged me and said, thanks so much for my order. It's been delivered. I absolutely love it. It's bloody amazing. And I just said, oh, Nicola, I'm so glad you got your order. Have you ever thought about joining Scentsy? And that was it. It felt very natural. It literally was. It wasn't like sticking out like a sore thumb. But I am making that my intentional system. Obviously, at some point in my business, I'm going to have to go back and have conversations with other people and, you know, pluck, you know, people out of thin air where I think they're on my dream team list. But if you have got a constant stream of new customers coming in, 10 a month, that's 10 simple joint conversations a month. Imagine if they all said yes. You know, that could be like,
just imagine.
Yeah, just imagine. Yeah. So we've said sales and your PRV is like one area of your business. Asking people to join the business should be another focus to give you longevity. And then obviously coaching your team to do exactly the same 2 things that we've done. Coaching your team to have a party, get a borrow bag out, do a pouch party, do an online party, helping them to be able to do that. And then the last little bit is obviously personal development as well. These are like all things that you should be focusing on your business. Now, I know it sounds easy to say that because you're like, well, that's easy enough for you to say that because there's 100 things I could do to get sales. I have actually got this form or this sheet that I'm just going to share with you in the comments, which I'm hoping you will be able to download. So please tell me if you can download it or not. Is something that I didn't make this. It was on a program that I did years ago with another SSD, Stacey, and she made this, but I refer to it all the time. And it is a sheet that basically has got what you would call income producing activities. And really where you want to be spending the majority of your time is in this growth section, but you can also see some of your time, for example, where it says networking and developing. I think growth and networking is probably more that first bit where you're doing the follow-up, handing out samples, booking parties. That's where you want to be spending the majority of your time. Can you see that okay? Laura,
yeah,
that
it works.
Yeah, amazing. So if that helps you, this
can't remember this.
Yeah, but but nothing's changed. This is like 5 years ago, and nothing's changed. There might be a few extra things that we would add on that, but there's a really good basis for actually as a tick off, you know, where you want to build your habits it's within that growth period. If you're finding the majority of your time is spent in the maintenance mode, i.e. sample making, we all love it, I know, or just reading and watching all the trainings. I've been there where I've literally filled my brain with all the trainings, but then not gone into growth mode after it. You've got to, yes, you've got to be doing the maintenance things, i.e. watch the training, read the books and all that jazz, but then you've got to go and do the growth action after, because if you don't take the growth action, your business will not grow. It will stay in maintenance mode, which means it will just, you won't find those 10 new customers, your team aren't going to grow. So I find that really useful. It's, as I say, it's an old document. Feel free to print it. I've had it printed for years and I refer to it all the time whenever I'm talking about income producing activities. Now, those growth activities are going to be what's going to give your business longevity. Of course, if you've got party bookings, it goes hand in hand with having samples made up, for example, for if you're doing party bags, for example. Yeah. Or, you know, if you're handing out a borrow bag, yes, it's got to have samples in it for when you're handing that borrow bag up, but some of those things do go hand in hand. So don't look at that list and think, I've just got to stick to the growth activities. It's about finding that balance, which isn't always easy.
One thing, yeah, talking about that's the perfect word that's just going to lead into what I was just going to say. But when we talk about consistency, please don't misunderstand that we're saying that you literally should be working for 12 hours a day every day. Like when we talk about consistency and actually being kind to yourself with this. So for example, I 100% know in the early years of my business, like, and I've always been very driven, like we're very similar in this way, Lisa and I, like we're very driven but what I've learned is, so like, for example, I'm going to kind of put it into context of like training as well and like the whole mindset about that, but with your business. So the last week has obviously been my 40th birthday. So I've had a day out with Emma. I came down to Essex. I went out for lunch. Like I've had a few days where, you know, I've maybe not been on it with my business as much. At the weekend, I had a couple of PWS orders, but obviously we had a party. I was getting my hair done in the morning. Like we've had a really busy weekend. But I know in the early days of my business, or perhaps when I was like pushing for director, I would have really beat myself up for like mentally, I would have kind of got up today and thought, oh my God, like we're coming to the end of the month. I've produced a document for this. I haven't done this. I haven't done this. I haven't done this. I haven't made up my thank you packs for the sale. But it's okay because, you know, I still was having conversations, i.e. with the balloon lady that's led to. So don't feel like when we're talking about the growth things and we're talking about the consistency, some days you're going to work 5 hours a day on your Scentsy business if you've got the time. Some days you might have one conversation when you're with somebody in the supermarket, but it's still being consistent. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about doing the things consistently over a long period of time. It's that thing about, oh, what's that phrase that I really like? It's something on fire. I can't remember it, but I'll find it afterwards, about something on ice. It's about being passionate and about being consistent in your business. Even if that's doing one thing a day for your business consistently, it's okay to like take a day off. It's okay to like fall off the wagon almost. That's what I was going to talk about. Like, so say you're on a diet and say like, you think, oh, you've been really good at like asking people to book parties, and then you have like a week where you think, oh, I've not asked anybody. Don't then say to yourself, oh, well, I've not asked anybody for a week now. I'm just going to give up. Like, just start asking people again. It's a bit like I said, when if you was on a diet or something, and then like, because I've heard this so many times, people like, oh, well, I've had a weekend now, I've had a Burger King, and then like I've had a chocolate cake, well, I might as well just give up now. No, just get up Monday morning, just get back onto whatever you were doing, whatever plan you're following or training or drink your water, whatever. It's not going to ruin your business if you have a day off or an afternoon off or an evening off. It's okay. Please don't misinterpret what we're saying about being consistent with you have to be like tied to your phone messaging 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because then all that's going to happen is that you will burn out and you will start to resent the business and you won't want to grow. And when we talk about personal development, that talks as well about like taking the time to do the things for you. These are really important habits in your business, and these are probably things that, you know, maybe don't get talked about enough. Really important habits you need to build into your business are taking time off occasionally, and are taking, I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. Whatever level you're in your business, it's going to be different for what you want to do. But it's really important to understand if you are not thriving within yourself. So when we talk about reading, if you've followed up with 10 people in one day and then you want to switch your phone off at 7 o'clock and go away and read a book and have a bath and come back to it tomorrow morning, That's not just like, okay, it's really important to do that occasionally, because otherwise you're just going to burn out and you're never going to grow. So it's about being consistent, but don't feel like you have to do all the things all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So true. I mean, I'm a self-confessed workaholic, and I've always said it, and I always say to people, never, the amount of people that say, "But I don't do what you do," and I always say, not many people do, because
same. I have to
knows what I'm like. She will tell you, like, there will be, and I know we've both had nights where we're working really, really late and whatnot, and I'm terrible at taking time off. Like, I'm really not very good at it. I'm not. But that's, for me, that's a choice. That's something that it fits with my family life. It doesn't affect my children. It doesn't affect my relationship with my husband. You know, I'm very lucky in that respect, but I am also a self-confessed workaholic. Like, I work.
Oh, me too, 100%. And that's why I'm saying, if I'd have had my like 40th birthday, I would have beat myself up, because I'd enjoyed myself with my friends for the weekend.
Tam actually said to me today, Laura was done amazing. She didn't drop the ball on her business at all. She was so present with all of her 40th birthday stuff. And I said, I know. So there you go. So you think you wasn't, Laura, but there you go. I'd say the opposite. I think you were. You know, I feel
like I took the time. I enjoyed myself all day Saturday, but then Sunday I cleaned up my house, and then I was like, right, I'm going to get my office work. So yeah, to me, having one day off is a day. But that's because we love it so much. Yeah. But I actually felt refreshed. I had a really good night. I had some time off, and then I was just like straight back into it. But that's, like Lisa just said, that's because
I think as well. Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
It's because it's not a job. No. Like, it's not a job to us. It's not a job where, I know people talk about what this industry can do, but that it is, we are wholly authentic when we share this, in that it's not like a 9 to 5 that you resent going to, and it's that, oh my God, it's that Monday morning feeling, oh my God, the weekend's over, oh my God, I've got to go back to work tomorrow. It's not work. Like, no. it's not that divide of, you know, we have the choice, and it genuinely never feels like that.
And I think that's really important for you guys, especially where your Scentsy should fit into your life, you shouldn't have to fit into Scentsy, if that makes sense. It should fit into your life, whether you have, it's just working out what is your time span that you can work. And if that's 2 hours a week, you can do an awful lot with 2 hours a week. If I probably took away some of the fluffy stuff and actually just looked at the growth elements on that sheet, you know, so I might spend 2 hours a week actually on growth activities, and a lot of my other time is fluff, attraction marketing, but that's where the consistency comes in. But don't get into a habit, and I think there's a lot of people out there in network marketing, not just in Scentsy, but in network marketing, but where we said about going through the motions, where you're doing something for the sake of doing it. It's got to be intentional. Like, put thought behind your post, put thought behind, you know, what you're actually writing. If you don't feel that you've got something to post or to share, don't post. I always think a rushed post is worse than you put 100%. In, you know, a poster. And you can always tell when someone's like not being authentic to themselves and has sort of seen something that someone else has written, and then they quickly throw it in their group because they just think, oh, I'm not being consistent. I haven't done 5 posts today. You know, like, I have had people on my team before that have done their posts exactly the same amount of time, spread out for every single post. I mean, my life doesn't work like that. Like, no. I said to one of the ladies in the school today, she said something about my nails, and I was like, well, they're a bit boring for me, just pink and white. And then she said to me, oh, who do you have in the nail salon? And I was like, because we go to the same nail shop, and I was like, oh, just whoever's free. And she sort of looked at me and I went, I can't book appointments. I was like, if I book an appointment, I'm never going to get to it, and I will cancel it 3 times. And I said, it's just no point. So for me, I literally I need places where I can go, because that's how my life works.
Yeah.
And that's the same with my customer group. And sometimes it's the same with, you know, but these income producing activities, as in following up, booking parties, knowing where my sales are come from, those are things that we've got down, but we're intentional with them.
sorry, I'm just looking at Sarah's post. Sarah's obviously just said about working 2 days a week. I'm just literally going to strip that back to when we both first started. Okay. So I'm just going to give you an example. Yes, we have this freedom now, and yes, we can choose how we work our time, and it's wonderful. And I'll never, ever, ever stop sharing it or be grateful for it, because it is amazing. And I literally do. Sometimes I'll just be driving and I do like literally have a little moment, and I get like emotional, because I'm like, this is my life. Like, I literally can't believe it sometimes. But let's just give an example, and then Lisa can give one as well, because I 100% know we've had this conversation. In the early days, right? And this was my Fridays, right? Because my Fridays were my super, super busy day. In the early days, now bear in mind, I had 2 children and a dog. So I would get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, get up, take Bailey out like super early. Like, what I would always watch the sunrise. I loved it. Get Bailey out super early. Then I get back and I'd help with getting the kids ready to school. So I would drop the kids to school. So this was all the while I was a Scentsy consultant. Then I would drive from dropping the kids to school to my first hall where I was teaching. So I used to go in, leave my Scentsy samples on the side, set up my fitness class, teach my fitness class, teach my ladies, chat to them at the end, maybe take some Scentsy orders where they've had a little smell of the stuff. Then I would go home, have a shower, get changed, drive to the school for lunchtime, where I was a midday assistant, where I used to work from 12 till 1, might speak to some other people about Scentsy. And then I would come home, maybe eat something, and then have maybe an hour that I could maybe go back to people on my phone. So I probably haven't been on my phone all day up to this point, maybe other than to maybe tag my fitness people in to say like, well done for your class. Go home, maybe have something to eat, do a bit of Scentsy follow-up, go back, and Dan was at work, obviously now, so this Dan wasn't around. Then go back and pick the children up from school, bring them home, do their dinner, get them ready. Dan would come home. I would then go out to work in a restaurant in the evening, which was in Chelmsford, which is about a 25-minute drive away, maybe 20 minutes. Take my whiff pots with me, and then I would leave them in the staff room at the back, and people would be. So that's 3 places I'd been that day. I hadn't really been on my phone. I was working 3 different jobs, and I would always come home with Scentsy orders. Then maybe at the weekend, then on the Saturday night, I might have a Scentsy party. Might have taken Harry to football and taken my whiff bag with me. And that was just an example. I didn't have hours and hours and hours to sit and post on Facebook or think about, oh my God, what am I gonna? I literally Scentsy was coming around with my life with me. I actually probably now have to be more intentional now because I have more free time. So that was just an example in the early days of having people saying they haven't got the time to work their Scentsy business. You have the time. Lise, go when you were teaching.
Mine was very similar. I was teaching 2 days a week, and driving backwards and forwards to Shoebury from Wickford every day was like a good 45-minute journey there, 45 minutes home. I might as well have been commuting to London when I look back at it now. And I did that for 2 days a week. Obviously, while I was teaching out on the playground, I couldn't have my phone. I couldn't post. I couldn't go live in my teen group. I was doing lives in my teen group while I was getting ready to work, like checking in with people, like, hello everyone, I'm just doing my hair. Just wanted to talk to you about the flash sale that's coming, going live in my customer group. It just didn't happen. I didn't have that amount of time. And then the 3 days that I did have off, I think I was running Yummy Mummy when I first started.
You were,
I was running an online fitness and like healthy eating program. So that was quite busy. Artie was only 6 months. And I had the largest dog that you've ever seen in your life that was a puppy. So like my life was pretty hectic when I very first started selling Scentsy. I do find it harder having more spare time because the more spare time you've got, somehow you fill it with other things like going to the gym or cleaning your house. Like I've spent the majority of the day cleaning today. But you can always find ways to fit Scentsy in, and it literally just squeeze into, like when I'm out in my car and I've got a busy day, when I stop, I will do a post, and I've had that time to think about that intentional post while I'm driving. I know what I'm going to post about, or normally it is just literally mine's very simple. It's just as I use Scentsy, I post about it. That's how when I was at work, that's how I sponsored Kirsty England. And, she's a director now. And that was just through going to the classroom. And she said, oh, I've seen you do Scentsy. And then we had a conversation, dropping off catalogue, took her in my borrow bag into school, and literally just unfolded like that. I think she ordered on my website actually before we'd even had a conversation. It was in a sale or something like that. But it's just about, you need to give your business real longevity. It's finding systems that work for you. Laura and I don't have loads of systems on Excel spreadsheets. I've tried Excel spreadsheets. The only system that works for me is a diary and a list. And I think Laura's very similar. We literally have a diary and a list. And sometimes even the list, I'm like, mentally in my head, I know I've got an order to unpack. I need to get my thank you mail out, and I need to start thinking about February transition, for example, for team. And, but it's about having those systems in place, knowing what you're doing. And if you are finding things hard, it's about reevaluating why you're finding it hard and then changing something in your life to basically make that harder become a lot easier. And that's what's going to give you that longevity. But half of it, I was still partying. When I was working 2 days a week, I was partying 4 times a week. And that was where my customer base grew from. And that's why this training has been so important, and that's why we keep talking about longevity, in that if you can build partying and networking and borrow bags and, pouch parties and all that jazz, finding new customers, making it a focus, your business will never die.
No, when I look back, actually, say, sometimes like you'll go back in your customer group and you're searching for a post or something. When I look back and the post will come up from the early days, that is literally all I did. If I ever got like an additional, maybe somebody messaged me to order a 6-pack of wax, that was rare. Like it was parties and it was borrow bags. That was all we knew. We didn't know any different. Like we hadn't had a pandemic where we'd all been stuck in our houses. So that was all we knew. It was booking parties, it was booking out your borrow bag, and if your borrow bag was back, it was getting it out of your house. Now, I know we both do this, right? Randomly, we'll just put up a post in our customer group, in our team groups, and say like, where's your borrow bag right now? And the amount of people that go like, oh yeah, you've just reminded me, I need to get it out. It's not at the forefront of people's minds. And that's what we need to change, because if we can change it with you guys who've got teams, and obviously we've got teams, then teamies will start training teamies, and then people will come into the business, because that's, like we said, that growth needs to keep happening. That never stops for us. People will come into the business, and it's remaking that focus again. That needs to be the focus, and then the odd little extra orders that are coming in, single orders, needs to be secondary. Like we need to make that shift back, and I feel like if we can do that, and then you guys can train your teams to do that, we are going to have a outstanding 2023 and beyond. I would nearly said banging. That is a Tam Richards word. That is we're going to have a banging 2023.
Just bear in mind as well, guys, like we're talking about bringing in new customers consistently. If you do that, that's your bread and butter. Like think about the compensation plan for every single title there is, whether you're certified or whether you're lead all the way up to superstar director, you need a minimum of 500 PRV. So even at superstar director, if we didn't grow new customers and we didn't party and we didn't find new people, our business would shrink and it would get smaller and smaller and smaller. And if we couldn't bring that 500 PRV in, okay, just bear in mind that our group volume has to be over, this is getting a little bit deep now, but our group volume has to be over 80,000 GWV, which is about £100,000 worth of Scentsy that our whole group has to do, right? Otherwise, we don't get paid as superstar directors. But even if our group brought in that 100 grams worth of Scentsy, if we didn't bring in that 500 PRV, that's £600 in orders from customers, we would get paid as a certified consultant. And that's the same for you guys, whether you're lead, star, superstar consultant, director, star director, it's exactly the same. We always have to have that 500 PRV. That's at your bread and butter. And if you're then having those people are joining, or they go and find a new consultant, or they've not got any money at the moment because gas and electric's gone up in the air, that 500 can get smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's why it's so important to have that first thing isn't about having join conversations, or that most important thing isn't just about making sales. It's actually about finding new customers. That is what's going to give your business longevity. Your business will never die if you've got a constant stream of new customers coming into your business. Yeah. And I will just add on this. I mean, as I say, it's getting a little bit deep. When it comes to, what you want from this business and the longevity, you need to work out really simply, how much money do you want to make? Or is it just about that you want to help people? Or, what's your reason for doing this? If I decided, when I started out, I wanted to make like an extra couple of £100 to help with my childcare. So we're talking, I wanted to say £200 a month. So I knew just by looking at the compensation plan, I needed to sell 1,000 PRV a month to make £200 a month. Now, when you put it into context like that, that's what you need to be thinking about. And if, say, for example, you want £200 a month, that's right, isn't it? I've done my maths right.
Yeah, 20%. Yeah.
1,000 PRV, 20, it'd be 250.
Yeah.
If, for example, you are thinking, well, I want £200 a month, but I'm not getting that, that's your starting point, is to find enough new customers to help you bring in a consistent 1,000 PRV every single month. You know, obviously, if you're hitting lead and star, you do get bonuses based on your team, so you are going to get paid a little bit more money. But just think, if you was bringing it, you've just got to make that decision. Like, where's your ballpark figure? If you want £500 a month, then you know you've got to bring in about 1,700 PRV a month. You can bring in £650 a month just by 2,000 PRV. But again, it's how many customers do you need to service to make sure that happens? And that's where your partying is going to help you. That's where that longevity is going to come from. So I hope I haven't got too, I feel like I've got too quite in the numbers tonight, but I think it's important for you to think about it that way. Someone said it to me the other week, and I was like, why have I never thought about it like that? Like saying to somebody, how much do you want to make? Like, what do you want to make out of Scentsy? £1,000? Do you want to make 200 quid? Do you want to make 50 quid? You know, like, what do you want to make? And then we can work out what PRV you would need to be able to do that. And then you could work out, how many customers do I need? Right, where am I going to get those customers from? It's about knowing what your goal is. And now I'm talking, this is like my world tour speech, but knowing what your goal is and then working backwards, all the steps in between to be able to make that happen.
Absolutely. And breaking it down, because then, like Ruth just said, when you see it on a monthly basis, then you can break it down onto a weekly basis. You can break it down onto a daily basis. And then it doesn't seem so huge. It seems really achievable. And then what will start to happen is, over time, you know, you're going to set it at 200 PRV, you're going to set it at 500 PRV. Then you're going to think, oh, I'm never going to earn 1,000 PRV, but you'll earn 1,000 PRV. And then before you know it, you're like 2,000 PRV every month is a non-negotiable, and it is that growth, and it happens with consistent habits.
It does. So I think some of the words to take away from tonight, if you haven't heard them enough, because I do feel like we've said them quite a lot, is longevity. You know, think about what's going to give your business longevity. Intentional, like that is so important. Being intentional, consistency, but not consistency just ticking a box. Be consistent with intentionalism, and that's where the magic formula will happen. I think they're like your three main takeaways, hopefully, from tonight. Hopefully we've got that across.
Does anyone, before we kind of like finish up and like finish the course, does anyone have any questions, anything at all, obviously in relation to, like, you know, not are we watching Love Island, but anything at all in relation to the course? Any questions that you want to ask us, anything you want to share, any wins, anything at all? Feel free to either unmute yourself or drop it in the comments and we will read it out. I find I work harder now. We can see the PRV on the dashboard. I set it at 750 a month. I hit over my target nearly every month. Well done, Ruth.
So start setting it at 1,000, Ruth.
Yes, exactly.
Step out of that comfort zone, girl.
Hopefully. I know someone's typing. I know somebody is typing.
Do you? How do you know that?
I was typing, but I can't be bothered. I'm really slow.
I was going to say, Katrina, I can see you going like this, as if like, oh, but no, go for it.
I always want to talk too much, don't I? And then I too much time. That's why everyone gets 55,000 voice notes a day off me. I was just thinking, the takeaways you said, Lisa, are my takeaways, but then I have just like highlighted, coach my team to do the same. So I didn't know, probably maybe already got some training out there on that, or if not, that might be helpful for the future, sort of just some more tips on how to coach your team to do the same, if you get what I mean.
I think we don't get too caught up on the word coach, but really it's about showing your team what you do. Yeah. So for me, it's always been like literally sharing, this has just got me PRV, or sharing how to launch their business, sharing with them how to do a borrow bag, anything you've learned from tonight, you know, take the main points of it, or even just in general over the 4 weeks, and sharing it with them and saying, right, does anyone need any help with me to set up a business? That is coaching your team. And sometimes we do it on a basis where we coach everybody. Sometimes it's on a much more one-to-one basis where you're voice noting probably people back and forward and saying like, do you need help with that? There is obviously lots of training on coaching as well. I've got some group coaching calls booked in with a lot of my team this month. And it's really just about asking questions, and
that's what I was just going to say. I think probably the biggest thing, because we have both done a coaching course with Scentsy, and one of the biggest takeaways for me from that was I went in thinking not that I knew what I was doing. I've never, mentor coached anybody in my life before, but the biggest thing about coaching is not giving them all the answers. It's asking the questions to ask what they've tried, and then before you know it, because we've had coaching calls, and before you know it, you're giving all the answers. Like people actually probably know more than they realize, but it's asking the questions, and then stopping talking, which obviously I find quite difficult. So it's asking the questions and getting them to think for themselves. Obviously, you can give prompts and stuff, but yeah, I think that's probably something when I got a team, probably, I don't want to say worried about, but probably thought, I don't really know what I'm doing. But actually, exactly as Lisa said, all it is sharing what you're like sharing. And then when people say like, I've not asked them what they've tried. And then I can guarantee if you give a list, if you know that you've advised them to try 5 things, they've tried 1 of them. So there's always opportunities for that, for them to try more. The 3 legs of success. Yes, Lisa.
I just shared, the 3 legs of success. This is something, there's another version of this as well out that's really good. But this is made by Chloe Cox and Justin Cox, and there's some examples of coaching on there that might help. But this is like when they actually produced this, I thought it was gold, because I was like, it actually you don't have to worry about all the other stuff. This actually, in a nutshell, is exactly how to give your business longevity, like looking at these things. So sales, sponsoring, coaching, and the self-care is a really, really important one. Whether that's personal development, like Laura said, taking time off for your business, not overwhelming yourself as well. But, coaching, so they've given you system for your team members. So like even reaching out to your team members, having some form of coaching system, creating videos or trainings for your team, challenging your downline to have goals, and connecting with your team and incentives. The last one, iron sharpens the iron. I think that's just, about learning with them and all learning together.
100%. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys. Honestly, it's been amazing, because I know that across both our groups we've had feedback from people that have stepped out of their comfort zones, that have done parties for the first time, and we have really started to see a mindset shift across it. So hopefully, if you can keep sharing that with your teams, we can make that happen across the board. Lise, anything you want to add?
No, I just want to say thank you guys for keep showing up, and I really hope to see that. I hope in like a few weeks time or even months time, you guys just message us and let us know how you're getting on with putting these things into your business consistently, the conversations and the partying, and let us know about your wins. I love to hear it, even if, like Una, I know you had a party last week, and I love to hear and see pictures of your wins. I think that's so important.
Yeah, it is. It's the best. It really is.
Sharing your team groups, like every time you have a party, share a picture in your team group, or something that went well, something that didn't go well, share it, and that's that will inspire somebody else to do the same thing as well.
100%. I think that's a really actually probably a good point to finish on. Like, I know we run these groups and service these groups and share a lot of information in there, but please don't ever feel like you can't share. Please, honestly, they are not ours, they are yours. They are yours to share, and you do not know how inspiring it is to other people. So don't ever think, I don't want to post that in there because Lisa or Laura won't want it shared. Please share it. Like, honestly, that's what the community is about. That is what Scentsy Spirit is about, because honestly, we sometimes can think, oh God, it's just us like going on all the time, which is amazing, and I know we do, but please share it, because it gives us a good feeling to know that that you are putting into place the things that we've helped you with, but also you are 100%, 1,000% inspiring other people. Even if people don't comment, people are seeing it, and then you are inspiring people that are coming into the business thinking, oh, if they've done that, I can do that.
Yeah, especially newbies as well. I think a lot of the time we forget that, like, you want to post things over and over again, because there's always going to be someone new that sees it for the first time. So
yeah, definitely. Right, thanks guys. We will share the recording. Obviously, share this with your teams or anybody that you think needs to listen to this or hear this. But honestly, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, just keep sharing and letting us know how you get on.
Keep partying, guys.
Thank you. Bye.